You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
One-on-one with DP.
Huskers defensive tackle, Damian Daniels. Shout out to Husker Nation all together. We appreciate all the love and support, and just thankful that y'all sticking with us and everything through the ups and the downs. And we there, to be honest. Like we just gotta keep building. We right there, and I can feel it, and I'm pretty sure everybody else can feel it as well. And it's just something that's real exciting.
93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In football on Thursday, Lincoln Southeast shut out Bellevue East 35-0. Nebraska commit Jake Applegate would end the game with 3 touchdowns, all in the first quarter. In softball, number 2 Lincoln Southwest clinched the A2 district title over Lincoln Pius X. It came to the last inning where Lincoln Southwest would rally off 5 runs to win 11-10. In volleyball, Lincoln Pius X has struggled this week getting in the win column. On Tuesday, they lost to Fremont at home, and on Thursday, they lost both matches in the Papillion La Vista Triangular. In their first match on Thursday, they fell to number 8 Papillion La Vista in 3 sets. They would also lose their second match to Omaha Marion in 3 sets. In cross country, Lincoln Northeast senior Daniel Romery won the Heartland Athletic Conference Championship. He finished with a time of 16 minutes and 1 second. Northeast would win its first individual champion at a conference meet in 30 years. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, maybe I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Friday, folks. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. Nick Sainer, Enrique Alvarez Clary with you. Hello, Rico.
Hello.
How's it going?
Fantastic.
That's good. Are you pumped up?
I'm extremely pumped up. Dude, I'm so excited for tomorrow. Like,
I am as
I
well.
can't even explain, although I will make it known publicly.
Yeah.
I don't like night games. The only reason I don't like night games is because all of my pent-up anxiousness and want for a football game just stays inside of me until 6 or 6:30, whatever. So then last week before kickoff, I was like pacing in front of my couch, and Rachel goes, "Can you please sit down?" And I go, "I can't. I have so much nervous energy."
Is that how we're feeling? Are we anxious for tomorrow? Are we excited? Is it?
Oh yeah,
it's
excited.
Anxious?
Yeah, it's definitely an excited anxious,
at.
but it's still anxious. Like, it's just like, I just want the game to be here. Like, that's what I like 11 a.m. kickoffs, not, for early tailgating or anything, but just because it's the first game. Like, you get it, you watch it, and you're either happy the rest of the day or you're sad the rest of the day. It's fine as long as you get that game done. Even 2:30 is okay because, you get like one game to like mentally prepare yourself. But if I have to watch, 2-3 games before I have to watch Nebraska, I can't do it.
Yeah, but I'm super excited for tomorrow night, and we'll dive into it. We're going to talk about the keys to a Nebraska victory. But first, I believe
I got to find it.
Rico has an exciting fact to share with everybody. We will do our first text of the day here, as always, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, Starter Heyman text line. Both those are open for you as well. For the full hour, DP one-on-one will be after us. George Foster will join him at 3 p.m. to talk some football, and then DP and J from 4 to 6 like normal. And then make sure you're on the ticket tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'll be with you for the High School Saturday show, and then Tipsy Tina's for the pregame show 2.5 hours before kickoff, and then immediately following the last whistle, make sure you're listening to The Ticket for Happer and Bach. They'll have the Husker After Party postgame show tomorrow night, hopefully celebrating a Nebraska win. Do we have the sounder?
We do have the sounder.
All right, let's hit it.
Stat of the day.
Depending on how you view this stat, it's either good or bad. Adrian Martinez has as many incomplete passes as Cade McNamara has completed passes. That is 50. Adrian Martinez is 100 for 150.
Mm-hmm.
Cade McNamara is 50 for 81.
That's exciting. That's good. So let's talk about the keys to the game on Saturday.
That is your stat of the day, ladies and gentlemen.
Do we need to play the second sounder?
No, we'll play the same one again.
Stat of the day.
Thank you. 464-5685. Let us know, how comfortable are you feeling heading into tomorrow? I'm feeling pretty good about tomorrow's game.
Yeah?
I am.
Why?
Excuse me.
Why are you feeling so good?
Because, and this actually is going to stem off of old school yesterday towards the last 5 minutes or so. DP asked me, is Nebraska better than 3-3?
Yes.
So there's ways that you can look at this. And we had to close up the show before we could really dive into it. But the way that I spent the rest of the night and then today thinking about it, I said something yesterday where Nebraska is capable of being better than 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
They're capable. Their defense this season, more specifically the last couple weeks since Oklahoma, you could even stem that back to once Buffalo, the game against Buffalo. Nebraska's defense has played good enough to be better than 3-3.
Yes.
However, there are other facets of the game, special teams offense, the ones that we always talk about every single week, about if they can just put this together, then Nebraska's product on the field is going to be much better than what we've seen in years past, especially under Scott Frost. So that's where I want to get your thoughts. Is Nebraska a team that's better than 3-3? And I'm sure we're going to have people that text in, and this is totally fine, with the record saying, oh, well, the record is 3-3, so they're not better.
What the record
they're
is.
not better than 3-3. And I'm totally understanding of that. And I actually agree with you, because at this point, Nebraska is 3-3. But looking deeper and being realistic, seeing a top 30 defense in terms of some statistics, seeing a top 50 offense, an offense that if you take away them, and this is going to sound bad, but if you go and look at how they move the ball prior to them getting in the red zone, it's a pretty good offense.
It's pretty solid.
However, they don't come away with points, which is something that you guys know this. We've talked about it the whole season so far. It's the special teams not converting on points, whether that's a field goal or it's the offense not getting into the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
And so taking it piece by piece, this team looks a lot better on paper, something that we can actually point to. This team looks a lot better than 3-3.
Stats-wise, Nebraska's offense is in the top 25, I believe, and their defense is also in the top 25. So I mean, that top 25 team, you would believe that on both sides of the ball, if you're top 25, you are better than 3-3. And honestly, Nebraska is. I'm just gonna not count the Oklahoma game. I'm going to say Nebraska is 2 plays from being 5-1.
Exactly.
The Adrian Martinez strip sack fumble recovery for a touchdown against Illinois, and then the punt return for a touchdown against Michigan State. If you take those 2 plays away, I wholeheartedly believe that Nebraska would be 5-1 right now.
Well, and we can always go back and say if this Nebraska team that we're going to see tomorrow night against Michigan under the lights against a top 10 Wolverines team, and we're all feeling, most of us, the majority, are feeling somewhat confident that Nebraska has a shot to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
If you match that team up with the Illinois team that played Nebraska in week 0, I don't know if there's anybody that has watched every Nebraska game, I should say, especially over the last of the course of the last couple of weeks, that would say that Illinois would beat Nebraska.
No. Nebraska, if Nebraska and Illinois played right now, if they played tomorrow, if it was Illinois instead of Michigan. Nebraska, I believe, would probably be favored by 14.
Oh, at least a couple
maybe
scores.
more. Maybe
at least
more.
a couple scores.
Like the Illinois team that beat Nebraska is not the same Illinois team that is showing up to the rest of their games. I don't really, and it's weird because Illinois had so many people missing against Nebraska, but somehow managed to scrap together an offense and a defense that was able to shut down Nebraska. And then after that, Nebraska has found ways to counteract all of their, well, not all, most of their mistakes, and they've been able to get some wins and get some really close losses to really good teams. You've noticed, or at least I've noticed, I don't know if anybody else has noticed, the defense, the first time the opposing team has the ball, they'll make some mistakes, but they immediately adjust when it comes to the next series. Like they'll give up some yards, they'll give up a couple big plays in the first series that a team has the ball, but they'll immediately adjust. And that's exactly what we've wanted to see from this coaching staff and these players is adjustments, whether that be at halftime, whether that be, after a single series, whether that be after a play. You've wanted to see adjustments, and the defense has been able to adjust to what teams have been throwing at them this year. The offense has been working towards adjusting, and I think the triple option wrinkle that they've thrown in is their way of adjusting to what teams are throwing at them, because there's so many things, as I've said before, that you can do out of that. You can run the ball with Adrian. You can run the ball, an option play where he pitches it to the running back. You can hand it off to a running back, pitch to a wide receiver. You can throw out of it. There's so many different things that you can do to break down a defense out of that triple option that is kind of their way of adjusting to what defenses have been throwing at them, because defenses have been taking advantage of, so far up until last week, taking advantage of the lackluster play by the offensive line, and they've been getting into Adrian's face and forcing him to either take off or make a quick decision. And when Adrian makes a quick decision, unfortunately, I love Adrian, when he has to make a quick decision, it hasn't been the greatest sometimes. When he has time to sit back and think and go over what's going on in front of him, it has turned into some pretty nice plays. So when Adrian is not rushed and he has time, like a lot of quarterbacks, honestly, he makes really good decisions. And when he is rushed and he has to run or scramble and make a play, that's when he's his most dangerous, because you don't know what he's going to do, but he's his most dangerous as much as for the defense as he is for the offense, because he'll throw on the run, and he'll throw on the run, or he won't sense pressure coming from one side, and it'll end up in a turnover.
Exactly. And I want to kind of go back to something you mentioned there, Rico, about mid-game adjustments. That's been one of the common complaints of Scott Frost's staff while they've been here, is their lack of ability to adjust, whether that's mid-game, whether that's in between quarters, whether that's from a week-to-week basis. That's something that we haven't necessarily said in the recent weeks here. You look at Oklahoma, they adjusted for Oklahoma. A lot of people were getting this on the text line quite a bit. They should have won against Oklahoma. They were the better team against Oklahoma, even though the score didn't necessarily show that. So when it comes to, here's another thing I want to talk about here, the trust. We talk about trust with offensive skill positions. That was the big reason that they gave us for Xavier Betts not being on the field. And that's why I'm kind of excited about what the future, just in these next couple weeks for Nebraska football, the opportunity of the kind of offense that we could see. Because now it kind of feels like it's all been building up to what we're about to see here in the next couple weeks. We've been hearing that last season, they didn't trust some of the younger guys at the skill positions to be out there for every single play. That doesn't seem like that's the case. We haven't necessarily heard that from when Scott's talking about guys like Xavier Betts. And we're starting to see guys like Xavier Betts come into their own. And Xavier Betts could be the number one option on this offense. Could be the number one weapon on this offense. Yeah, you look at Samori Toure's out there every single week, but in terms of weapon, I would take Xavier Betts.
Samori Toure is the most reliable receiver they have.
Yes.
He is a big play threat, but currently he is the most reliable receiver that Nebraska has, and he is Adrian Martinez's safety net for, passes deeper down the field.
And you can even throw Oliver Martin into that mix.
Although we only saw him
reliability
2 weeks.
Yes.
And he was fantastic against Illinois, and then we didn't see him until last week.
But I guess what I'm trying to get at here, and we have a couple minutes left in this segment, these next couple weeks for Nebraska football are exciting Number one, yes, because they're playing number 9 Michigan at home under the lights on national television. Sean McDonough and Todd Blackledge are going to be on the call
on ABC.
It's going to be the energy down at the Haymarket is going to be exciting all day. We're going to be out at Tipsy Tina's. It's going to be a blast.
Mm-hmm. Eating not breakfast tacos because it's a 6:30
yes,
kick.
Eating tacos.
Sad. The breakfast tacos are delicious though. Get a breakfast taco. I don't care what time it is.
Yeah, but this is kind of where I'm looking for the offense that we've all been expecting from Scott Frost's staff to kind of come out in these next couple weeks, if that makes sense. We've seen flashes. We may have even saw it for most part against Northwestern when they came out. They had a big play to Toure, and we get that off the text line from BJ. Still think we need to get the nickname Big Play Toure going.
No. What we're doing, what Happer has been doing, and I love it, is when your eye hits the moon like a big pizza pie. That's Samore.
Yes.
There you go. That's what we're going with.
But
although I do like Big Play,
I do like that one
as
well.
That's nice.
But no, here's what I'm saying is once you look past all of the optics and how the game looks and the energy that's outside of the stadium, once you go inside the stadium and you're watching the game unfold tomorrow night, think about this. If it goes Nebraska's way, which there's a lot of people, including myself and including Rico, that are confident in Nebraska tomorrow night, there is a way that we can look at it and say, this is what it's supposed to look like. Nebraska has that Big Ten defense under a defensive coordinator, Eric Shenander, who has built this up. They love the pressure. They love having pressure on them, right? And as a Nebraska fan, you want the pressure on your defense rather than your offense at this point, because Nebraska's defense is much better of a unit than their offense is. That's just being realistic. But there's an opportunity to look at how the game unfolds and see this is what we have been waiting for. Whether it's a big play, whether it's incorporating tight ends, whether it's having an established run game, or even sticking with the run game long enough to where they open up the backside or the perimeter on the field.
Something's going to break.
Yes. And that is what we have been kind of expecting. We've been waiting for, we've been longing for as Nebraska fans under Scott Frost, because that's what we saw at UCF. And yes, it has taken a lot longer than what we were expecting, what we were hoping for once again. But this week, this is kind of what I've been trying to explain all week, and I haven't been able to put it into words. And finally today, I'm glad that it's on a Friday as well.
You finally figured it out.
I
finally know words.
But this is kind of an exciting. This is a big reason why I'm super excited for it, is because this could be what we've been waiting on.
This could be the turning point. This could be Scott Frost had said, I believe it was probably later in year 1 or maybe year 2, when this thing flips, it's going to be quick and it's going to happen very fast.
He was absolutely right. If this week, if
it could have been it could be the Northwestern game.
Yeah.
We could look back a couple of years from now and just think,
right.
You're thinking back on the first 3 years of Scott Frost's tenure and like, man, it didn't look good at all. And then you think back to that Northwestern game and you're like, they dropped a boatload of points on Northwestern, a boatload of yards, and that's that was the switch that flipped for Nebraska football.
Well, think about the Maryland game in I think it was Frost's first season, or maybe it was even 2019. I can't think of it right now. But Maryland's game when Nebraska blew out the Terrapins on the road, it was like, it felt good. That was finally Scott Frost's offense that it was supposed to be. That was finally the Scott Frost offense, the explosiveness from his offense that we were, promised when he got here and stuff. But it was towards the end of the season, so you couldn't really get it under your belt. You couldn't really get any momentum. You had guys leaving the program with attrition and graduation and all that, like they'll have to deal with this season. And going back, you had the Michigan State, the 9-6 win. It was the thought after that one was, okay, this is the hard-fought Nebraska win that we have all been waiting for.
This is the victory they needed.
Yeah, exactly. And so this one, though, the last couple weeks, it's been a different vibe. And call me out on the text line, please, 464-5685. You can call in as well, Honda of Lincoln Hotline, if you think I'm just blowing smoke. But this week, the last couple weeks, the way that they've built up, I know Nebraska lost to Michigan State, and I believe it was Gabe earlier. Yeah, Gabe's texted in, this season, the last couple weeks have been frustrating but promising. We have not had a team beat us this season, mistakes and bad special teams play. Ding, 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 ding. Nebraska's beat themselves. Nebraska beat themselves in Illinois' game. And that's another thing. And we can talk about the offense finding the way that and looking the way that we've been expecting or have been kind of hoping for them to look. But there's another way of when things don't go your way and you're still able to win. There's two different categories there that we can talk about.
Winning pretty and winning ugly.
Yeah, finding ways to win when things aren't going your way. Nebraska might not be there quite yet.
But when things go their way, they need to capitalize on that.
Yes.
And win those games.
And to be fair, in recent years, you haven't seen that, but you're starting to see that.
Much.
You're starting to see that. Once again, it's been slow moving, slowly progressing, but it feels like the last couple weeks have kind of built up for this moment, for tomorrow night to be in national television. I mean, think about it, guys. We always talked with previous staffs how they can't win the big game. They can't win the games on national television. They can't win the games against top 10 opponents. And I'm not blind to the fact that Scott at Nebraska hasn't really beaten anybody of significance. I'm not blind to that. But there's something that it would be ironic if Nebraska is able to win the biggest game under Scott Frost in the time that it is right now, where everything kind of seems to be leading up to where it's starting to turn a corner. It's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is exactly why Nebraska fans are going to be on the edge of their seats all day tomorrow. They're going to be juiced up, ready to go all day tomorrow.
This game, this environment just feels different from the past.
Yeah.
You know, Nebraska winning a game and then falling flat on their
That's
face
exactly
because
it.
this, for some reason, that Northwestern game, although Northwestern is not a very good team, it felt different coming into this week because of how good this team is, because of how talented this team is and how much talent this team has, and everybody knows how much they have. The defense is playing on another level. They're playing out of their minds, and it seems like they're able to keep it up. We'll see if they're able to keep it up against a better offensive team in Michigan, but they did really well at holding Oklahoma down. They did really well. They did extremely well holding the number one, running back in the country down, and then they just blitzed Northwestern. So the defensive feeling is what's propelling this team right now, and the way the offense performed against Northwestern just gives you a different type of feeling following a win than you've had in the past with Scott during the Scott Frost tenure, where maybe you won the game and you're like, yeah, that felt pretty good. They finally won a game. Maybe they can string something together and get off the schneid. And then, they come out and they fall flat on their face. But this one just feels different because defense, the way the defense is playing, it's, I don't want to say harder to mess it up, but it's a little bit more difficult to mess up how well this defense is playing because it's not just one person. It's a whole unit playing extremely well together, and they're so gelled that they will make mistakes, but it seems as if, the big mistakes turn into little ones because of how close they are and how well they know each other, that if something breaks, they're able to stop it before it gets too big. And like I said earlier, the adjustments that they're able to make during a series or following a series really helps this defense to stay together and be one really good unit.
I completely agree with you. And you made a very important part right there that we talked about earlier this week about this defense. There's no true superstar. There's a lot of stars. There's a lot of talented players on this defense. I can go up and down the list. JoJo Doman, Luke Reimer, Damian Daniels, Fadarius Payne, the whole secondary. And you can, whatever you want to say about Cam Taylor-Britt, his defense has been solid this season. It hasn't been to the level that maybe we were expecting. He hasn't necessarily elevated his defense, but some of that has been shadowed or covered up by the special teams blunders in the early parts of the season. However, Rico made a very good point. This defense, they work as a unit, and they don't necessarily expect praise, and they like having the game fall on their shoulders. They embrace that. That's that competitive attitude.
They like the pressure.
Yes.
Like you said earlier.
They embrace that competitive attitude that makes a quote unquote Nebraska defense, right? That's what we've been waiting for. So, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. this was really good. I'm glad that you guys are digging this stuff up. You guys have been great on the text line 464-5685. I was going to replay the interview from Trevor Woods yesterday in Ann Arbor. Let's not do that. Let's talk about the keys to this game. What is Nebraska going to have to do to beat Michigan?
And
to
send
beat
in your keys.
9th ranked Michigan. We'll get to all of your texts. We will not miss a single one. We will talk about every single one of them. Text in, call in, comment on the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. We'll get to everything that you guys send in here on a Friday pre-Michigan next on Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Water heater gone? Call Bryant. The price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. And in most cases, same-day replacement. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. We do whatever it takes.
In the Army National Guard, family means everything.
They really appreciate what she's done as a sister as well as a soldier and, supporting the country.
Our parents, they were really supportive that all 5 of us would join.
Family members that are soldiers in the Army National Guard inspire and influence, setting a path for others.
It's validating knowing that, I kind of did my part to make sure this is what they actually wanted and that they feel the same way I do. I'm really proud that we get to help shape the future. And I know that my sisters are going to be amazing soldiers.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard instills pride that you and your family will share in.
A lot of pride, and they're just out there doing something every day and then serving the country as well.
I got my education because of the Guard. I got to travel a little bit and experience a whole different culture.
Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Build your network, experience local business, and find out what local merchants have to offer all in one day. Visit the 2021 Lincoln Expo on Tuesday, October 13th at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Safely discover local business and shop local at the 2021 Lincoln Expo from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m.
Venue at Home is your answer for locally made, freshly prepared meals delivered to your door every week. Our meals come ready to heat and eat. With sizes for 2 people or 4, Venue at Home is perfect for busy people who want a quick, easy, and delicious meal option to share with your roommates or feed the whole family. Add on from our wide selection of appetizers, sides, desserts, alcohol, and more. Receive a discount on your meals by subscribing to get Venue at Home delivered every week. Visit venueathome.net to order today. That's venueathome.net.
Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is, your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
When everything is changing, you need a store that's a constant. A store that has the brands your family loves and the value that you need. A store where you can stock up, pick up, and drive up. A store that's close to home and feels like home. A store that puts the health and safety of you and your family above all else. And a store that's always here to help. At Kohl's, we don't know what next year will look like. We just know that we'll be here for you no matter what. Kohl's, here today, here to stay. See store or Kohls.com for details.
Work out your stress and get back to feeling great at Planet Fitness. It's a great time to do your own thing. Now through October 13th, join for just $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime, and get back to a routine that's right for you with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Plus, check out the crowd meter in our free PF app for the best time to visit. Join today for $1 down, $10 a month, and cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends October 13th. See club for details.
Last year, the average starting pay for an SCC truck driver training program graduate was $44,720. Southeast Community College can now make that a reality in only 8 weeks with its professional truck driver training class starting in October. SCC's fleet of 12 trucks and professional instructors will prepare you for a new career. You'll end the course with your Class A CDL. Learn more about SCC's professional truck driver training class at southeast.edu/truckdriver. SCC, your path to possible.
toys and sports collectibles. 6200 Havelock Avenue.
Hi, I'm Kevin with Sports Fantastic.
And I'm Daryl at Stop and Shop Funko Pop.
We have two of the best collectible stores in the coolest place in Lincoln, in Historic Havelock by Misty's. Sports Fantastic has tons of sports memorabilia for Huskers and other hard-to-find teams.
And Stop and Shop Funko Pop has all your Funko and anime needs. It's your one-stop shop on one block at 6200 Havelock.
6200 Havelock Avenue.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Dreaming of the perfect kitchen? More room for entertaining? Today, the Johnsons got both and saved by consolidating their debt. With a home equity line of credit, you can borrow money as you need it, have flexible payment options, and pay interest on only the money you're using. If you have equity in your home, the possibilities are endless with a home equity line of credit. What will you decide to do? Get started by visiting LibertyFirstCU.com today. Approval required. Equal opportunity lender. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose.
Now back to the happy hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the happy hour, 93.7 The Ticket, ticketfm.com. Speaking of Lil Nas, I need to shout out. We have to shout out a couple people, Rico.
Yeah, we do.
Cubsker, and there was somebody else that Birdman on Twitter.
Yes.
Those guys, they tagged Rico and I in
some industry
baby stuff yesterday. So
both in the car.
Yeah. So thank you.
Shout out Cubsker and Birdman.
And shout out, we can't say it
and
yet.
Always.
Shout out Industry Baby.
Always.
All right, let's get to some of your texts. All of your texts.
Most of your texts.
And send in your predictions. We'll make ours tomorrow or today in the final segment while we're getting to the keys of the game here. Nebraska and Michigan. All right, let's start here. Brian T. My man, Brian T. Confident enough that I will be talking trash to any Michigan fans I see tomorrow.
Let's go, Brian.
Good.
Let them know.
Husker fan in Manhattan says 75% confident in an all-out win. You take the last week's team into any something, we are undefeated. We've had this a couple times. Everything hinges on our offensive line. If they can put it together, we will be in every game. Yeah. And is there not confidence in the offensive line after last week? Yes, Michigan's defensive line is much better than Northwestern's. Yes, it is.
100%.
But Nebraska's offensive line against Northwestern's was much better than Nebraska's offensive line against
everyone
Michigan
else.
State, Oklahoma, Buffalo, right?
Everyone else.
Yeah.
Adrian Martinez was not sacked. I don't even think he might have been hit once, but I do not believe he was sacked. He was hurried a couple of times, but not to the point where he had to scramble.
And don't forget, against Illinois back in week 0 on August 28th, one of the first plays of the game, Adrian Martinez was hit on his backside.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be skittish too after a while if my backside was just wide open for everybody to hit. Never thought I'd say that out loud. All right, Todd, I'm tired of watching Nebraska be close in these big games and saying we could have won if ... I want us to actually win a big game. Tomorrow's the opportunity. Tomorrow's as good of an opportunity as there has been. I said the same thing with Oklahoma, and people are going to call me out for that. I said the same thing against Oklahoma because to that extent, we didn't know, number one, where Nebraska was going to be against when they played Michigan, when they played Ohio State. We didn't know where Michigan was going to be at that time. And we also didn't know the time, what time kickoff was going to be between Nebraska and Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
This opportunity is bigger than Oklahoma's, in my opinion, because of the magnitude of it. Number one, being a conference game. Number two, being against an undefeated top 10 team. And number three, being on ABC primetime. This is a huge opportunity. And I have more confidence in Nebraska's team going into tomorrow than I did in Nebraska's team going against Oklahoma.
As you should. Nebraska going against Oklahoma had really not proven anything. They had lost Illinois
Yeah.
and then beat two lower ranked team, not ranked, two teams that you should beat on a regular basis.
Well,
and then, going into Oklahoma, it's like, whatever. You have you're 2-1, but what are those 2 wins really? And then following Oklahoma, it's like, oh wow, this team is improving. They're doing really well. Then you hit up Michigan State. You should have won that game. You were extremely close.
Defense played better than a 3-3 defense would.
Again, you come out of that game and you're like, well, wait a minute. This team might actually be for real if we can fix a few things. Northwestern, it seemed like everything got fixed. Granted, it was not a very good Northwestern team, but it seemed like everything got fixed. So you should be not extremely confident, but you should be confident with Nebraska going up against Michigan in Memorial Stadium. If it was a road game at the Big House, it would be a little different.
It'd be
I
daunting.
would understand your confidence waning a little bit, but the fact that they are playing in Memorial Stadium at night in front of this crowd, who, as you saw against Northwestern, because it was Northwestern, this crowd is hungry and ready to cheer these guys on and make as much noise as possible, as the Husker account on Twitter was asking.
Well, and I want to go back to what I was just saying about how Oklahoma, I feel more confident in Nebraska going into this game tomorrow night than I did about Nebraska going into Oklahoma. If you remember, it was the week leading up to Oklahoma was, man, you kind of hope Nebraska has, plays tougher because it's a former rivalry game.
Oh, you're going to slow it down. You can't do anything.
Slow it down.
Keep it out of their hands.
Slow down the offense, the speed of Oklahoma. It was that discussion. It was establish a running game, even if it doesn't work, establish a running game or a commitment to the run. And, you might open up the passing game. They did all those things against Oklahoma, but now they've done it in back-to-back weeks. Last week with Ramir Johnson, they did it. They did it with Jaquez Yant last week as well. They had the offensive line that looked better last week with Nuili and Prohaska. And we're not sitting here where we're sitting here a couple weeks removed from Oklahoma saying that we're confident in Cam Jurgens still. Remember, the first couple weeks of the season, it was Cam Jurgens, he's looking good this year. The snaps have been much better than they were last year, but we need him to see, we need to see weeks on weeks of them stacking this kind of play together.
Well, we've seen it.
Well, now we've seen it. So there's a chance.
What's up, Ice Pop Man?
Jake. There's a chance that all of this could just be helping out in really putting Nebraska on the map tomorrow night with a win. 464-5685. Let's go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline. We have JR on the line. JR, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. So everybody's talking about but it's Northwestern. They're terrible. Mm-hmm. We weren't having the same conversation after we beat Fordham or Buffalo, right?
No, we were.
We were still, but were we?
It's not to the extent.
Talking about how the offensive line still had a bunch of holes, and I don't feel like we have the same confidence that we have now after the Fordham or Buffalo game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's because Nebraska still allowed sacks and a lot of pressure against Fordham and Buffalo.
Right. And I would say that Northwestern, I would argue, is better than Fordham or Buffalo.
Yes.
Considering
I agree.
They put quite a bit of offense up on Ohio the week previous.
I agree.
And then also one other point I wanted to kind of make out is everybody's talking about Michigan, how great of a running team they are.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the last 2 weeks when they've actually played some decent defenses in Rutgers and Wisconsin, which is kind of weird to say Rutgers had a decent defense.
Yeah, I hear you.
Both weeks they rushed for only 112 yards and only averaged 2.7 yards per carry. So that also gives me quite a bit of confidence in our defense. So
yeah,
I'll hang up and listen to you guys. Great show.
Awesome. Appreciate it, JR. Thanks for the call as always. Yeah.
I was waiting to get to the Rutgers and the Wisconsin thing because Rutgers is a pretty good team this year. Wisconsin offensively is garbage. Defensively, they're still really good. This is still a pretty solid Wisconsin defense. It's not up to the level that they're used to. Mostly because they have to be on the field all the time because their offense is so terrible, which it kind of reminds you of Nebraska's defenses in the past and during this Frost era where they're pretty solid, but they're on the field so much that at some point they're going to break and they're going to allow scores. So I'm not saying, and I still believe Nebraska's defense is better than both of those defenses, but I'm not saying, that, Michigan's run offense is going to be shut down by Nebraska's because of what they did against Rutgers and Wisconsin. I mean, there's still a chance that they could break something.
Absolutely. Gus says this on the text line. Guys, I feel like if we look back in a few years, it won't be the Northwestern game that changed things. It would be the 7-point loss to a top 5 Oklahoma team when we gave up 8 points in the field goals and extra points games. Yeah, that you can definitely look at that, or it's just a culmination of everything. Think of everything this team has been through under this staff. It's not like they're deaf to what's being said about them, and they can say that they don't, let that affect them.
They say they don't pay attention to the outside noise, but then Scott Frost said he heard the rumors about Adrian Martinez's injury.
Good point. Which we could always talk about the toughness of Adrian Martinez.
He's a gamer.
Dusty says this on the text line. Dusty says, I expect us to play good enough to win tomorrow, but have a few costly turnovers, penalties, or give up a few crushing plays and lose by 10 to 14 points in the end.
And that's what Nebraska's been trying to avoid, and that's what they avoided against Northwestern. It's what they avoided against Michigan State outside of, the punt return. They didn't end up losing by 10 or 14, but they ended up losing that game because of the costly mistakes. And again, with Oklahoma, the costly mistakes, like you said, will bring this team down. It always has.
Yeah.
And if they can avoid them or limit them, not avoid them, but if they could just limit them to just a few, I think they can keep this game close enough.
Well, that's been the hump that Nebraska's needed to get over now for a couple years. It's them beating themselves.
Shooting yourself in the foot. You can only shoot yourself in the foot so many times, or at least we thought. It seems like Nebraska doesn't have a foot to shoot themselves in anymore.
No more.
Maybe that's what it was.
They shot their whole foot off.
You had to deplete your bullets and your foot space.
Your feets.
Your feetses. Once your feetses are gone and your bullets are gone, you're good to go. Now you can win games.
You're not going to shoot yourself.
Can't shoot yourself in the foot if you don't have a foot.
Good point. Or if you don't have bullets.
Yeah, see?
All right, let's take one final timeout. Send in your predictions. We've already had quite a few of them send in. We'll dive into all of those. Send in a reason why you're predicting what you are. We'll wrap up the happy hour on Friday next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the happy hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Toys and sports collectibles, 6200 Havelock Avenue.
Hi, I'm Kevin with Sports Fantastic.
And I'm Daryl at Stop and Shop Funko Pop.
We have two of the best collectible stores in the coolest place in Lincoln, in historic Havelock by Misty's. Sports Fantastic has tons of sports memorabilia for Huskers and other hard-to-find teams.
And Stop and Shop Funko Pop has all your Funko and anime needs. It's your one-stop shop on one block at 6200 Havelock.
6200 Havelock Avenue.
Water heater gone? Call Brian. The price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. And in most cases, same-day replacement. Brian Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. We do whatever it takes.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In football on Thursday, Lincoln Southeast shut out Bellevue East 35-0. Nebraska commit Jake Applegate would end the game with 3 touchdowns, all in the first quarter. In softball, number 2 Lincoln Southwest clinched the A2 district title over Lincoln Pius X. It came to the last inning where Lincoln Southwest would rally off 5 runs to win 11-10. In volleyball, Lincoln Pius X has struggled this week getting in the win column. On Tuesday, they lost to Fremont at home, and on Thursday, they lost both matches in the Papillion La Vista Triangular. In their first match on Thursday, they fell to number 8 Papillion La Vista in 3 sets. They would also lose their second match to Omaha Marion in 3 sets. In cross country, Lincoln Northeast senior Daniel Romery won the Heartland Athletic Conference Championship. He finished with a time of 16 minutes and 1 second. Northeast would win its first individual champion at a conference meet in 30 years. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Want a free pair of Nebraska football tickets? Head to the ticketfm.com's contest tab and register for a free pair of tickets each week of a home game, courtesy of Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of Woods Brothers and 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You end up driving below the speed limit? It's no big deal, right? Wrong. The truth is, your reaction times slow way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Talk about a buzzkill. Stop kidding yourself. It's not okay to drive high. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
When everything is changing, you need a store that's a constant. A store that has the brands your family loves and the value that you need. A store where you can stock up, pick up, and drive up. A store that's close to home and feels like home. A store that puts the health and safety of you and your family above all else. And a store that's always here to help. At Kohl's, we don't know what next year will look like. We just know that we'll be here for you no matter what. Kohl's, here today, here to stay. See store or kohls.com for details.
Who's in? Who's out? And what'll happen Sunday when the Broncos battle the Steelers?
Quick pressure on Ben Roethlisberger, and he is going to be hit and sacked.
Join Dave Logan and Rick Lewis as the Broncos try to bounce back into the win column.
Touchdown, Denver!
On the KOA Broncos Radio Network.
You decide to buy new flooring you want it installed right away. Hi, Steve Carper from O Street Carpet. With our huge in-stock supply of carpet, tile, and vinyl, wood, and laminate flooring. You buy today and we'll install it right away. While other stores don't deliver that kind of service, we do. In fact, if you'd have purchased your flooring last week at O Street, you'd be enjoying it today.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street and ostreetcarpet.com.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, sewer and water underground repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. That's Select Plumbing at 402-560-6197.
Build your network, experience local business, and find out what local merchants have to offer all in one day. Visit the 2021 Lincoln Expo on Tuesday, October 13th at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Safely discover local business and shop local at the 2021 Lincoln Expo from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m.
Now back to the happy hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here on the happy hour one final time, getting you ready for Nebraska, Michigan tomorrow night, 6:30. In the top of the fifth here in the ALDS Game 2, Houston has taken a 2-1 lead over the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox have a guy on first with nobody out in the fifth. Whew. All right, couple minutes here. Shout out industry, baby. Forgot to say that.
Always and forever.
All right, let's do predictions, folks. Let's have some fun. All right.
Let's get it.
Let's see what you guys think. Unnamed texter says, I sense a huge coming out party. Nebraska 31, Michigan 7.
Ooh. That seems a lot.
Yeah, it seems like a lot to a little. Gus is somewhat optimistic. If we play solid and get a slight pass rush, we win 24-10. Unfortunately, if the old Huskers show up, 35-14 Michigan. Ooh. That's two very different scores. I will say this. So, where Michigan ranks, I was just telling Rico this during the break. We talk about hidden yardage, right? Scott Frost has talked about hidden yardage on special teams. Michigan in the nation, according to ESPN's Football Power Index, is the number one special teams unit in the nation.
Yeesh.
They give up on average 7.5 yards per kick return. So, Yes. If you're on the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream.
Wave the arm.
Wave
it.
the arm.
Put your hand above your head and wave it on every kick return.
All right. This one from the Michigan Insider, which is their 24/7 sports site, says, where's it? Okay.
Oh, you lost it? Okay.
Yes. Michigan is now the number one special teams nation in the team in the nation, according to ESPN's Football Power Index, and is looking elite across the board on the field. The Wolverines have an all Big Ten candidate at kicker, punter, and punt returner, and might have one on kickoffs if teams would ever kick to Blake Corum with regularity.
Yeah, don't do that.
Stay
it'll
away.
be 100% necessary.
Yeah.
To kick the ball out of the back of the end zone against Michigan.
D-Ron Poop Pants says 36-18 NU. Lucas, 34-20 Michigan wins. Last week was more of an outlier against a bad team rather than the usual mistake-riddled games we are used to seeing. I think tomorrow we will see a return to the mean struggle on special teams and shoot ourselves in the foot once or twice. Well, hopefully if you were listening at the back end of that final segment, Nebraska has no more feet.
Yeah, there's no more feet.
No more feet to shoot.
No more feet, no more bullets. Can't shoot yourself in the foot anymore. Maybe, just maybe last week was not exactly last week because you're not going to play as perfect as they did against every team.
Yeah.
But maybe that is more of what this team is as opposed to the mistakes every single play kind of Nebraska that, as you said, we are used to seeing.
I agree. Todd, Nebraska 35, Michigan 31. Nebraska wins it at the very end with an amazing play from Martinez to Toure.
Ooh.
Excuse me.
I'd be down with that.
Nebraska 24, Michigan 21. We had some more. Tater, text in. You're still coming in at 5:45 for the chip, right?
Shout out Tater.
I hope you are. Tater. Huskers 31, Michigan 13. Our defense is going to be stout and hold their running game to 100 yards. And we all know how Michigan's passing is.
100
yards.
I
will say this.
Ooh,
Michigan's
buddy.
passing, I wouldn't be so quick to be out on Michigan's passing. They just haven't seen it. They haven't had to pass.
I 100% would.
Well, I'm glad that you could.
Like I said, their offensive weapons in the receiving room are not the same as old Michigan.
And they lost Ronnie Bell.
And I have no idea what Caden McNamara is, but expect another interception.
I agree. All right, Husker fan in Manhattan, 42-10 Nebraska.
Oh my goodness.
No offense for Michigan. He says sorry. He says no offense for Michigan, and Huskers score 21 in the fourth quarter.
Oh, 21 in the fourth.
Okay.
My goodness.
We get
they
this
are
one.
They are outscoring opponents in the fourth quarter by a decent margin.
Michigan 27, Nebraska 24.
Game winning 54-yard field goal. Wow, my goodness.
Cubsker, if you get that right on the head and they went on a 54-yard field goal,
I'm going to make you eat 5 chips.
True. All right. I don't know if this one's being serious or not. Alex says, Cade and Adrian participate in a defensive optional offensive shootout.
49-42 Nebraska. Both teams 500+ yards. No.
I don't think that's going to happen.
That's not happening.
Which I was saying this during the break. We have about a minute left here. That's a little loud.
My bad.
Why is it so hard for teams to score over 30 points? It doesn't seem like that should be that hard.
This is the year of defense. This is the defensive year. Last year, everybody was scoring over 30. This is the defense year. It's a thing. I don't know why.
Turd Ferguson.
Love the name.
I have all the confidence in the world Huskers can win, and that's why I believe the score will be 67-4 Michigan.
Goodness gracious.
Love it. Burger King says 30-24 Nebraska. Black shirts with 2 picks.
2 picks. That doubles
good.
that doubles the amount he has on the season.
Yeah. I'd be hyped for that.
All right.
I think, okay, here's the keys real quick. We have 20 seconds. Nebraska needs to generate a little bit of pass rush. They have the top offensive unit offensive line in the country. Nebraska's going to need to get pressure. Nebraska also needs to win the turnover battle and establish some sort of running game. Adrian Martinez needs to ball out. And for that reason, Nebraska 31, Michigan 23.
28-14 Nebraska.
We'll talk to you on Monday.
Adios.
Are you one of those people who thinks it's okay to drive stoned? I mean, what's the